following is an exclusive presentation of the Carolina Panthers and the National Football League.
This week on the Panthers Huddle, Coach Dave Canalis joins us as we look ahead to our Week 12 matchup against the Kansas City Chiefs. Plus, step inside TD's film room to see the Panthers legend break down Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs offense. Welcome inside the Panthers Huddle.
Welcome inside the Panthers Huddle. Kristen Balboni here with Panthers legend Thomas Davis. TD, big opponent in the Chiefs this week. We're going to get straight into it, okay? Because the Panthers don't play the Chiefs often, but Patrick Mahomes has played the Panthers before.
And it was a shootout between him and Teddy Bridgewater. It was an amazing game, and hopefully we're in store for another amazing game. We're coming off of back-to-back wins, and they are a team that was undefeated until last week when they faced the Buffalo Bills, and they faced a tough loss. So, you know, they're going to be looking to get back on track, and we're going to be looking to keep the streak going and defend our dirt right here at Bank of America Stadium.
Back-to-back wins and a bye week, so we're well rested. We've got some guys coming back. But I want to ask you mentioned about the Bills handing that Chiefs a loss. What exactly did they do so well to get the better of a team that was previously undefeated?
You know, I just feel like they went out and executed Sean McDermott's game plan to a T. He's one of those guys that plays a bend but don't break style of defense, and he loves to connect to receivers. When you connect to receivers, that forces the quarterback to have to be extremely accurate and make good decisions. And they were able to force Patrick Mahomes into some bad decisions, in particular one at the end of the game, which was the interception.
Yep, that's exactly right. And, you know, we were talking before, and you pointed out these numbers from Patrick Mahomes. We are so used to him having these prolific seasons. And it is still great, but it is not as great. It's not the Patrick Mahomes that we're used to seeing.
Right. He's had a lot of turnovers, and particularly in the first quarter of some games. So we know and we understand that he's trying to build a rapport with some of his new receivers. He lost Rashee Rice to an ACL injury earlier in the season, and Brown has been in and out of the lineup, and now they were able to go and sign DeAndre Hopkins, who we know is an all-star receiver. He's going to be a Hall of Famer at some point whenever his career is done. He still has to go out and just really get on the same page with him, and we're starting to see that week in and week out with D-Hop, so we have to be prepared what DeAndre Hopkins brings to the table.
Well, not only the Chiefs' offense, that defense looks so good. Tell me about it from a defensive perspective.
You know, Steve Spagnuolo is a very aggressive coach.
Yes.
He gets after you defensively. He sends extra guys. But what he also has is a guy up front in Chris Jones that wrecks game plan. He gets after the quarterback. And, you know, he's a big physical player that's fast, a lot like Chris Jenkins was for us back in the day. If Panther fans, you remember Chris Jenkins, big, fast, physical, athletic guy that can absolutely take over a game plan. And that's what Chris Jones does for that defense.
Well, certainly this offensive line is going to try and as you would say, defend our dirt because they want to get the running game going. That is a big part of Dave Canales' game plan always. Of course, we're going to see a lot of Chuba Hubbard, but we are going to see some Jonathan Brooks. Everyone has been waiting for this rookie's debut. Tell us about him and what you expect him to do in this game.
Listen, he's one of those guys, when I was watching him at Texas, he's physical, he's fast. He's one of those guys that can come in and be a game changer. When you factor in adding him with Chuba, it kind of reminds me of a group of running backs that we had back in the day and we called them Smash and Dash. D'Angelo and Jonathan Stewart, they absolutely were amazing together. So that's the kind of tandem I'm hoping that we're able to form with Chuba and Brooks. So when you get those guys out there and they're running and they're having success on first and second down, then that makes third down more manageable. They're going to allow you to keep drives going. And I'm very excited. Like I talked about over the course of this season, just seeing the rookies grow up and seeing how they're getting better and what we have to look forward to in the future with this draft class, man. I'm extremely excited about this team.
Agreed. Well, we've certainly got more talk on this matchup with the Chiefs coming up, but right now let's hear what the players had to say about this game.
We're going to treat this game just like no other. We treat every week the same. Just go out there and play our kind of football. We worry about ourselves, not the opponent. You know, obviously we watch the film and stuff, but really just focus on ourselves.
Does that make it a little more special though to against that high caliber of a team?
I mean, if you look at it that way, yeah, but I look at every game the same.
Yeah, they're definitely a good group. Good group up front. The starting 7, they got physical. Obviously, big guy with Chris Jones. She's one of the leaders of that group. So definitely excited for the matchup.
Does the fact that it's the Chiefs this week factor into your decision at all?
Decision to what?
Play or not?
Nah. If I can play, I can play. I mean, I've been trying to play the last few weeks, so just gotta let the body let me play. So I want to be out there. It doesn't matter who we're playing. I want to be out there with my teammates and playing football. This is a game I love to play, and I love being out there with my guys. So just doing everything I can and to be able to be out there.
Coming up, Coach Canalis joins Kristen and TD in the studio to preview our Week 12 showdown with the defending champs on the Panthers Huddle.
This exclusive presentation of the Carolina Panthers Television Network is brought to you in part by Bank of America, the official bank of the Carolina Panthers.
Welcome back to the Huddle. We are joined now by head coach Dave Canales. Coach, it is great to see you as always.
Great to see you.
So we are coming back off of a bye week, and you told us last week on the show that you were going to use it, especially on the front end, for some self-evaluation, some evaluation of the team. Can you let us in a little bit on one or two specific things that you and the coaches really focused on?
Yeah, I was really encouraged by the growth that's happened, over the past couple weeks in terms of, playing our style of football, playing complementary football, and really getting into the field position battles, taking care of the ball better, offensively getting after it on the defensive side, which ended up being a really big deal for us in Germany. A lot of the critical variables that we really harp on are starting to show up, and talking to Jero and just seeing the improvement from a defensive standpoint, playing the run, the communication in the back end, all the things tying together, playing better team football that way. Offensively, we've seen improvement in taking care of the ball. Third down is still an area we got to continue to just push the envelope and improve on, but the system and the schemes are coming together. And so I love how the whole thing is coming together.
Coach, Andy Dalton had another week to get healthy, but over the course of this bye week, you made the decision that Bryce is going to remain the starter.
Yeah.
What went into that decision to leave Bryce as the starter quarterback moving forward?
Yeah, it's the progress. It's the confidence that he's playing with. It's winning games, finishing on that right note, having that critical drive against the Saints, and doing enough in the Giants game to extend those drives, to put us into some situations where we could finish the game, and we kind of, we didn't finish the way we wanted to offensively in that game, to be honest, but there was enough solid play, and I could see the continuity and chemistry, and I just wanted to give him another opportunity to keep building on the things that are happening for him.
Coach, I have a question about Bryce and his running ability, right? When he was at Alabama, we used to see him pull the ball down a lot. Why haven't we seen Bryce take ownership of being able to do that? But we did see it a little bit in his pass game, but not consistently enough when things break down around him.
Well, I think in general, there's two things that create runs for the quarterback. Either you're designing them, which we're not a huge QB design run team, but in the pass game, it's either indecisiveness, so you leave the pocket too soon, or growing in a level of comfort and confidence where you make decisions about the concepts down the field. The coverage says, this play's dead, I gotta go. That's where we're at. Bryce is making those plays because he's playing fast. He's being decisive, and so when he pulls it down, because sometimes, TD, I'll be honest, the defensive coordinator's got a better call than I had. It happens, and the quarterback can make you right by throwing it away, taking off and getting you yards, and sometimes a sack's not the worst thing in the world that can happen.
Right.
You end the play with the ball, you live to see another down, and so it's the decisions, the decisiveness that was able to get him to those situations where he could extend the plays.
Coach, we've been talking about, and it seems like every week we have an injury to discuss or to talk about, unfortunately, but losing Miles Sanders, right? And now we have the opportunity to give Jonathan Brooks a look and just really find out if he can bring what he did at Texas to the NFL level. What are some of the things that you guys are looking forward to having him back, and will he be on sort of a pitch count, or will he get the same amount of reps that Miles Sanders was able to garner?
Yeah, first of all, talk about Miles. You talk about a guy that just shows up every day, works his tail off, was ready for the opportunities that would come to him, and we made a decision to make Chuba our featured back. And Miles, the character that he is, he showed up every day. He worked hard. He worked on his game, and he was ready, and took advantage of those opportunities and made some great plays for us, over the past couple of weeks. We expect Jonathan to step into the same type of role. That Chuba's going to be our guy. We're going to give Chuba the ball, and JB is going to get his opportunities, and to let him grow his role on our team based on the opportunities that he's given.
Nice.
What kind of running back is he?
He's got a really balanced set of skills. So he's big enough to run with power. He's got top level speed. He's got great hands out of the backfield. He's got patience in his runs. He lets the holes develop, and then he's got a gear, and he can go get it. That's what he showed. So we're just hoping that Jonathan can be as strong as he possibly can. To be confident is the most important part, and I know that's going to take time, but physically, we're really expecting great things from him.
Coach, talk to us a little bit about Andy Reid. He's a Hall of Fame coach. We understand and know that. But one of the things that really stands out to me about Andy Reid, whether it's in Philadelphia or whether it's now in Kansas City, he's had sustained success in this league. What are some of the things that you identify that makes Andy Reid special, that makes him be able to go from one team to another and have continued success?
It's probably, I'm glad you asked, it's probably the thing that I admire the most about the great coaches in the league, especially Coach Reid, who I've followed for as long as I could. And the minute I got into the NFL, I was able to watch more film. And the key ingredient is he does what's right for the players. Who is this quarterback? What's his skill set? The offense will look a certain way because of that. Who are the skill players? What type of running back is this? Is this a scat back like Westbrook back in the day? He kind of morphs his offense, at least from an offensive standpoint, into who his players are so that they get to a point where they're playing fast and confidently within a scheme that fits their skill set.
You mentioned it right there, and I remember when you and I did your first interview when you were hired, you said, I follow these great head coaches that have the sustained success, and especially the play callers who are head coaches. Have you had a chance to interact with Andy Reid?
Really, I've just seen him a few times, but at the owners' meeting this year, I've followed him around like a puppy dog. So I just picking his brain, about the way to build a program, the way to play with the young quarterback, staff organization, off-season rhythms, and of course, Brant Tillis, who's here, was in Kansas City for a bunch of years. So I was able to kind of pick his brain about what their approach was as well. So, and he was so gracious with his time, I got to say, and he just let me know the difference. He was so open and generous with his input. It meant a lot to me.
As we get into this Chiefs preview, I can't believe we haven't even mentioned Patrick Mahomes yet, right? We know this offense, what they can do, but I want to talk to you about the defense. Your Chris Joneses, your George Karlaftises. What does this defense want to do to attack you guys on the offensive side of the ball? And
really, it starts with Spags. It starts with a defensive coordinator, and I think that the longer a defensive unit can play, and TD can attest to this because here in Carolina, there was that core group of defensive players here for a long time together that they really work so well off of each other. The communication is so seamless. Like, they identify your formation so quickly. I lived that firsthand coming here in the divisional round in 2015, and they knew when we set up this way or that way, here comes this play. Normally you could sneak something in on a defense, and this group, the Kansas City Chiefs, have been playing really well and winning at a high level for a long time. You can see the communication that happens. You can see them kind of like, it's not just any old down. It's like specific to this formation, this personnel, in this situation. You can see them talking and working that way. And so Coach Spags gets the guys prepared that way. And then he just throws a bunch of curveballs at you too. And he's got a specific game plan. He's an aggressive play caller, so all those things we have to take into consideration.
Coach, we appreciate the time as always and the insight. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Up next, step inside TD's film room where the former All-Pro linebacker will analyze the X's and O's behind Patrick Mahomes on the Panthers Huddle.
Closed captioning for the Panthers Television Network is provided by Charlotte Eye, Ear, Nose, and Throat Associates, providing premier eye and ENT care to North and South Carolina.
inside TD's film room. All right, TD, you got some plays from the Chiefs for us. Now, we're going to talk about Xavier Worthy. He reminds me, and he might remind Panthers fans, of a guy like Rashid Shaheed, who we saw for the Saints against the Panthers, and we just know he is fast, he is explosive, and that's what Xavier Worthy is too, right?
Listen, Rashid Shaheed is fast and explosive, but this dude is much faster than him, and we always have to understand where he is at all times, because Patrick Mahomes, he's always looking to identify ways of getting him the ball. Right now, they're motioning this dude to try to figure out if you're playing man coverage, if you're playing 3 deep, or if you're sitting back in a 2 shell. And what does he identify? Once this play goes into motion as we roll this, you'll see that he identifies that they're in 3 deep. Anytime they're in 3 deep, you never want to be in this position right here as a defender. If you see these two right here lined up together, that is a problem. And the reason why it's a problem, because there's nobody on the field that can keep up with this dude once he starts running, and we'll show you right here what I mean by that. Look at him. He runs right by the defender for an easy 54-yard touchdown. So we always have to understand, KB, where Xavier Worthy is, and if he's in a 3 deep situation being the defender, you got to make sure that you're staying on top of him. You would rather him catch a pass underneath, come up, make the tackle, versus being side by side with him while the ball is still in the quarterback hand, because there's no way you're going to be able to keep up with him.
As they say, if you're even, you're leaving.
That's right. That's the saying.
All right.
Even, he's leaving.
All right, so we just saw Patrick Mahomes' arm. Everyone, of course, knows about that, but he can also escape the pocket and give problems to the defense.
Absolutely. He does it week in and week out, and Patrick Mahomes is a guy, he's not going to sit back in the pocket and allow you to sack him. Right here, you see he's improvising. So as a defense, you got to make sure that you're disciplined in your rush lanes. Right here, the defender is picking a side. He's going inside. This defender is going outside. That allows Patrick Mahomes to find this little window to escape. And what that does, it puts so much pressure on the guys on the back end to make a decision. And right here, you'll see Levante David, he's in coverage, and he makes the wrong decision, because to me, it looks like he's past the line, and I'm pretty sure Levante David is thinking the same thing. But what does Patrick Mahomes do? He keeps his eyes down the field, and once his guy comes free, he just dumps the ball to him for an easy touchdown. So you got to make sure it starts with the D-line, making sure that this guy stays in the pocket. He can't find those escape lanes. And when you put pressure on the back end, you're going to force us to have to make a decision. And usually when it's Patrick Mahomes, he's forcing you into the wrong decision.
But there are some ways to win against him, and we saw the Bills do that last week. So can you take us through the film of just how the Bills were able to do it?
Absolutely. The Bills did exactly what we just talked about, staying disciplined in your rush lanes, right? Once you stay disciplined and you force him, see, now he tries to step up, but the defender is able to get a hand on him. And coaches always tell us as defenders, tips and overthrows, you got to get those. Right here. Now, Patrick Mahomes thinks that he has a clean rush lane, but the defender stayed engaged, and he was able to disengage right when Patrick Mahomes stepped up. Now he's not able to set his feet and make an accurate throw. He overthrows his receiver, and he comes away with the tip and overthrow. First quarter interceptions have been a nemesis for Patrick Mahomes this season, so we got to make sure that we force him into some of those right here in Bank of America Stadium.
TD, thank you as always. You've given us the blueprint for how the Panthers can beat the Chiefs. We appreciate it.
No problem.
When we return, Kristen and TD wrap up the show with this week's Spotlight after a special look at our trip abroad on the Panthers Huddle.
I have your schedule for you if you're ready.
I just want to know who we play in Germany.
Going to play the New York Giants.
That'll be cool. That's a fun atmosphere, playing in Germany.
We've been practicing. We've been practicing our German.
Sound like a bunch of idiots. Hallo, wie geht's?
Ich hatte gerne schicken.
It was great to experience Germany. It was great to go see the sights and to feel the excitement. Okay, we're here to win a game. Okay, and you guys are focused on that. I can tell.
Come on. We came to win.
Yes, sir. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
15 points for every
That's ridiculous.
Once in a lifetime experience.
A lot of energy, that's for sure.
All right, boys, fly around now. Let's go.
It really, truly is a good story that I'd love to be a part of. That keep pounding mentality.
fantastic.
Okay, you just saw a clip of the special in-season edition of Panthers Blueprint. You can check out the full version on the Panthers YouTube channel. I certainly will be doing that. But TD, right now it is time for the Coke Spotlight. So what are you spotlighting for us this week?
KB, my Coke Spotlight goes to a guy by the name of Travis Kelce, who's been dominant in this league at the tight end position for a very long time. He got off to a slow start to start this season, but over the last 4 weeks, he's picked up. He's leading in receptions, he's leading in yardage, and he's leading in touchdowns. So Travis Kelce is a guy that you have to make sure that you know where he is at all time, because not only is he a dynamic player that has a ton of ability, he's Patrick Mahomes' favorite target, and he has been that way for a very long time. And not to mention, he has a pretty famous girlfriend as well.
Yes, he does. All right, thank you, everyone. That is going to do it for us on this edition of The Huddle. We want to thank, of course, Coach Canalis for stopping by. So on behalf of Thomas Davis, I'm Kristen Balboni, and TD.
Keep pounding.
You've been watching the Panthers Huddle, a copyrighted presentation of the Carolina Panthers and the NFL.